When I look back on the last year, I still find myself shaking my head at how one simple invitation changed so many things in my life. My name is Laura Mitchell, and I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in North Carolina. I've been divorced for almost 10 years, living alone in my two-story home. Life had been calm, sometimes too calm, until my nephew Ethan came to stay with me. What began as a short visit turned into something much bigger, something that reshaped how I saw family, responsibility, and myself. Ethan was 18, the oldest son of my younger brother, Daniel. He had just graduated high school, but things at home weren't great. Daniel and his wife, Kelly, were going through a rough patch, and their constant disagreements were weighing heavily on Ethan. He was a bright kid, artistic and full of ideas, but lately, he seemed lost. One evening, Daniel called me. His voice was tired as he explained the situation. Ethan needed some space, a change of scenery, a little stability. "Laura, could he stay with you for a while?" "Just until things settle down," he asked. Without hesitation, I agreed. When Ethan arrived with a small duffel bag slung over his shoulder, I was struck by how different he looked from the boy I used to babysit years ago. He was tall now, with thoughtful eyes and an almost quiet sadness about him. He tried to hide it behind polite smiles, but I could see it. He was carrying the weight of things no teenager should. I welcomed him warmly, showed him the guest room upstairs, and made us dinner. We ate spaghetti, and though the room was filled with silence at first, soon Ethan started to talk. He told me about school, about how he wasn't sure what he wanted to do next, and about the tension at home. "It just feels like I don't belong anywhere right now," he admitted, staring down at his plate. My heart ached hearing those words. I reassured him that my house was his home for as long as he needed, that he could breathe here, without judgment. That first night, after he went upstairs, I sat in the quiet kitchen and realized something. This wasn't going to be just about giving him a place to sleep. It was going to be about giving him a chance to find himself again. The following weeks were filled with little moments that stitched together into something unforgettable. I took Ethan grocery shopping, and he insisted on adding snacks and ingredients for recipes he wanted to try. We spent afternoons cooking together, laughing when we burned the garlic bread or spilled flour all over the counter. Slowly, I watched him open up. He shared sketches from his notebook, beautiful, detailed drawings of faces, landscapes, and sometimes abstract emotions that seemed to mirror his own struggles. I encouraged him, telling him he had real talent. One evening, as we sat on the back porch, he told me something I'll never forget. "Aunt Laura, I feel like for the first time in months, I can actually breathe here. I don't feel like I have to pretend." That sentence alone made every effort worth it. But things weren't always smooth. One day, Ethan received a call from his mom, and I overheard the tension in his voice. He stormed upstairs afterward, clearly upset. I gave him space, but later he came down, tears brimming in his eyes. "Why can't they just stop fighting?" he asked me. I hugged him, reminding him that his parents' struggles weren't his fault. That night, I realized how important it was for Ethan to have someone steady, someone who could listen without judgment. As the weeks turned into months, Ethan began to change. His shoulders weren't as heavy, his laughter returned, and he even started helping me with things around the house. He painted a mural in my garage, a burst of colors that made the space feel alive. We went on small weekend trips to the beach and the mountains, and I watched him sketch the world around him with an eye that saw beauty in everything. Then one day, something truly unexpected happened. Ethan showed me a portfolio he had been working on secretly. He had applied to an art institute in New York and, to his surprise, had been accepted. When he told me, his eyes shone with a mix of fear and excitement. "But I'm not sure I can do it," he said quietly. I grabbed his hands and told him firmly, "Ethan, you absolutely can. You've got more talent and courage than you realize. And no matter what, you have me cheering you on." The night before he left for New York, we sat in the living room, talking until the early hours. He thanked me for giving him more than just a place to stay. He said I had given him hope. I fought back tears, realizing how deeply this chapter had changed me, too. I had started out simply wanting to help my nephew, but in the process, I discovered a renewed sense of purpose. When Ethan boarded his bus the next morning, I felt both proud and a little heartbroken. The house was quiet again, but it wasn't the same kind of quiet as before. This time, it was filled with the echoes of laughter, late-night talks, and the unspoken bond we had built. Ethan was off to chase his dreams, and I knew our paths would always stay connected. Looking back, I can say with certainty that inviting my nephew to stay over was one of the best decisions I ever made. Things did take a wild turn, not in the way people might expect, but in the way life has of surprising you with love, growth, and healing. And for that, I'll always be grateful.